It may be the holiday season, but at the Disney parks, it's about to be hard hat season as both Disney World and Disneyland are gearing up for all of the 2025 D23 projects on their respective slates. So, with shovels about to break ground literally within weeks, while other D23 announcement timelines are still kind of up in the air, we Disney park fans have a lot of questions and there's a lot of speculation and rumors circulating out there. So, as we head into the new year, I thought I'd compile a list of the biggest legit Disney park rumors for 2025. And by legit, I mean these are rumors, claims, and reports that are actually plausible and are believed to have come from real conversations and something of substance, not just from armchair Imagineers. And what I've got for you today ranges from talk of a third Disney World attraction being replaced, to the fate of the Liberty Bell Riverboat, to just where Disneyland is planning to build its Pandora, the world of Avatar. Plus, I have a few quick thoughts on the Polynesian Island Tower and Disney Cruise Line's Disney Treasure. But first, let's get right into my list, beginning with what could be the biggest rumor of 2025, but also the hardest to pull off, and that's the revived speculation of Marvel coming to Walt Disney World. And in case you're unaware, due to an indefinite contract between Universal and Marvel from the 1990s, Disney is prohibited from utilizing most Marvel characters and the Marvel name in its theme parks east of the Mississippi River. This is why Avengers Campus is only at Disneyland, while Disney World is mostly limited to Guardians of the Galaxy. And if East Coast vacationers want an MCU experience under the Disney umbrella, they have to take a Disney cruise because that operates outside of the continental US, making it legal. Talk of Disney buying out the contract or negotiating a change pops up every so often. But a few months ago, there were some new and interesting reports saying something might have happened or will be happening, not to mention a few other convenient conditions. And so, here's why talk of a contract change might, and I do emphasize might, be happening this time. And much of it has to do with Universal Epic Universe. With this new park nearing completion, construction is going to shift back to Universal Orlando's pre-existing parks, and they're areas that are in need of attention because they're really going to pale in comparison to the resort's new park experiences. And let's be real, Marvel Superhero Island and Islands of Adventure, with its 90s vibes, has needed help for a very long time. And since Universal really can't improve this land or MCU-ify it, this land under the current contract is dead-ended, and the resort may be willing to finally give it up and utilize that real estate for a property that it can fully take advantage of. Another reason is Disney's investment. Disney appears to have finally recognized the park's profitability and are putting a lot of money into it. Getting the MCU for Walt Disney World would open up so many possibilities at the parks and resorts and generate guaranteed high returns. So, of any time, now it seems like they may be willing to make that offer. And a little sign that something may be happening was the surprise appearance of Doctor Strange at Hollywood Studios' Jollywood Nights. This is something that hasn't happened since the original Doctor Strange film released nearly a decade ago. And even then, it was considered to be kind of pushing the boundaries of the contract a bit. So having him back again raised a few eyebrows. And then Walt Disney World's Destination D23 is supposed to be the biggest one yet, and maybe Josh D'Amaro has something big in store for such a big event. Granted, I am still skeptical about all of this. This contract is pretty binding and it will take more than just Iger cutting a check, but I do think the potential is greater for something to happen now and in 2025 than any time previously. The next rumor is one I really wanted to share with you, and that is talk of a third Disney World attraction that might be biting the dust. If rumors and reports are true, Rivers of America and Muppet Vision 3D are not the only classic attractions Disney intends to cut. A third is on the chopping block that they just haven't announced yet. And my theory is that it's Hall of Presidents. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know there's been talk about Muppets replacing Hall of Presidents in some capacity. And yes, I still have a lot of questions about that. But given the reliability of the sources I've heard it from, I think it's really a possibility. The question, of course, is whether Hall of Presidents is that third attraction on the chopping block or if we should be looking somewhere else. If the latter, there is a relatively new rumor, or at least one that's new to me, and that is talk of Tower of Terror being replaced. I know it is sacrilege to even speak of, but I want to say this was mentioned by Theme Park Stop. I'll be honest, I don't know if it was pure speculation or actually stemming from real information, but I can see Disney being interested in replacing Tower of Terror's theme since they would no longer need to pay for the Twilight Zone rights. And they may feel like Twilight Zone is getting even more outdated than it already was. And if they can use their own IP and amplify that with an attraction, they probably will. Doctor Strange was mentioned as a contender for Tower of Terror, and while that too makes sense, I'm really, really hoping this is not true and Disney sticks with what works here. Moving from one possible controversy to another, a big question fans have is when the Magic Kingdom's Rivers of America are going to be closing. And due to the sensitivity surrounding replacing the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island, as well as the scale of construction required to create the new Frontierland mountains, the new Cars Land rides, and then Villains Land, this is a massive question. And I think the answer is a bit up in the air at the moment. We do know that Big Thunder Mountain is closing on January 6th for a shockingly long time. We're talking a year at least, but likely more since it isn't set to open until sometime in 2026. And it's a bit debatable as to whether any of these changes are due to Cars Land and Villains Land construction. But the real factor in determining when the river is going to close relies on a back and forth permit process between Disney and Florida concerning stormwater placement. I'm not going to get into the weeds on this. It's logistics, it's engineering, and things I have zero knowledge about. But the issue is Disney has to make changes to their plans and resubmit them by January 9th in order for this project to stay on track. If they do, I think we could have a timeline about when the rivers in Tom Sawyer Island will close in January at the earliest or February. And my prediction is that they will officially close in fall of 2025. This topic leads me to another one, and that is what is going to happen to Liberty Bell Riverboat. Regardless of the theories out there, repurposing this boat may be a challenge because it runs on a track. And I hate to say it, but unless Disney is really worried about fan feelings, the boat just might be scrapped. I'm actually leaning in that direction. But as I mentioned in my concept art breakdown, the dock is still pictured on the Frontierland concept art. Personally, I think Disney is going to keep the dock as a character meet and greet area, but one containing Easter eggs and nods to the Liberty Bell, allowing it to live on in the park via tribute. But a word of warning to those dreading the Liberty Bell's loss, draining the rivers of America will be one of the first steps in converting this part of the park to Cars Land, meaning the boat could be one of the first things to go. So if you want to ride it, I would ride it sooner rather than later. Next on the list is the rumor of another Magic Kingdom resort. And no, I'm not talking about Reflections Lakeside Lodge, which is now called Lakeshore Lodge. That's already been officially confirmed. I'm talking about the rumors of a resort being built between the Grand Floridian and the Magic Kingdom over by Adventureland. This rumor was circulating for a while but died out after D23, only to have popped back up recently. And from what I've been told, Disney is very reliant on DVC as a revenue stream. They pretty much can't stop given how it would appear in terms of financials. this is why I think this rumor is legit, and we may get evidence of it in 2025 once Lakeshore Lodge gets further into its process. But whether Disney will confirm it in the coming year, I'm not so sure. Next rumor is the location of Muppet Vision 3D, or the new location, I should say, of Muppet Vision 3D. Since Disney announced that the classic show was closing, the question of where the film will be allowed to live on at has been massive and very much talked about in recent weeks. And again, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I think Epcot's Journey into Imagination Pavilion is a contender, specifically the Magic Eye Theater, but I don't think it's going to be going there for a while. I'm thinking it's going to move there several years into the future after emotions have died down a bit and fans actually have a chance to miss it. And if more Muppet experiences are coming to Disney World, which is another rumor by the way, I'm definitely not expecting Disney to get in a hurry to bring Muppet Vision 3D back, as fans will be pacified for a while. Now, the next rumor has to do with what's happening at the Canada Pavilion. This should not be a big rumor, but it's become kind of a thing. So there is some mysterious construction at Epcot's Canada Pavilion, specifically in terms of its replica Hotel du Canada. It looks like the first and second floor are being converted into something guests can finally use, with theories ranging from a new retail space to a bar. My personal take is that I think this is going to be a DVC lounge. What Disney is doing at Frontierland with its DVC lounge may become a trend we see at other Disney parks and something we end up talking about throughout 2025. And I've heard that the second floor of this structure does offer some stunning views, so making it an exclusive experience really does track with what the company has been doing lately. Now, let's swing over to Disneyland, where the big rumor is where Coco and Pandora Part 2 are going at the Disneyland Resort. So at D23 in August, Disney announced a Coco attraction really out of nowhere, as well as further details about the West Coast Pandora World of Avatar, which is going to be based on Avatar 2, The Way of Water. I personally think both of these announcements were really exciting, especially Pandora 2.0. Not because I'm a big Avatar fan, but Animal Kingdom's Pandora is an Imagineering triumph, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with a different Pandora biome. But the controversy and the mystery is where these two experiences are going to go. The leading theory is that Pandora will replace DCA's Hollywood backlot, especially since Avengers Campus is expanding beyond and behind Avengers headquarters. Meanwhile, the Coco attraction is expected for Paradise Gardens and right next door to Pixar Pier. I admit these locations make the most sense. This is what I would predict would happen. But I think we could be surprised by what Disney settles on due to the monorail track running through the backlot and the shape of the Paradise Garden space. As for when we'll get answers, I'm predicting confirmation during Disneyland's 70th and as a part of the hype for that event. And just a reminder, that celebration kicks off in May. Anyway, those are the biggest rumors and biggest questions heading into 2025. And as I've shared before, this is an incredibly exciting time for the parks division of the Walt Disney Company. So much is happening, more than we've seen in years. For instance, we are currently just now getting to see more of the Disney Treasure ahead of its public sailing on December 21st. And how, in my opinion, Disney has outdone themselves with this ship and really elevated it from the Wish and ahead of further expanding the fleet. I honestly believe some of the best Imagineering work right now is being done at sea. Also, the day I'm recording this, we're getting our first real look inside the Polynesian Resort's Island Tower, and it looks very much like the concept art and extremely modern. But compared to the heavy Disney touches on the Disney Treasure, if I didn't know better, I can't say I would know Island Tower was built by Disney. And honestly, that's disappointing. I have been told it is much better in person, so I will withhold full judgment until I see it for myself, which should be very soon. But if you're all about Disney news and experiences, and if you are as invested as I am in any of these 2025 Disney rumors, I would so appreciate if you would give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. I'm very much looking forward to sharing all of the upcoming news, covering all the upcoming developments. And if there's anything you would like to see me cover, or if you have info to share yourself, please feel free to reach out. You can find my email here on the channel. But regardless, I hope you have a magical day and a happy holiday season.